All right, Larry Kruger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show in the parking structure, getting ready to go to practice before practice. But the Niners have made a roster move, and they've added Jaylon Allen, an interesting edge rusher from Memphis, to their roster, the latest move. Now, obviously, this is made in conjunction with the Terron Jackson injury. Jackson went down the other day in practice, and it looked fairly serious. Obviously, they took him off on a stretcher. They took him to Stanford. They did a battery of tests. He was back at the facility yesterday. But, when you have that kind of an injury where you're taken to the hospital and there's, I would imagine Terron Jackson won't be playing anytime soon. But we don't know the particulars. But the 49ers signed Jaylon Allen, an edge rusher, I think, to take Jackson's spot on their camp roster as they get ready for the preseason. So let's talk a little bit about Allen. He played at Memphis, and, interesting player. Very athletic player, 6'2", 240. So he's an undersized rusher, right? The Niners usually go for guys, edge rushers that are 260. Now, they could look at him as a stacked linebacker, but I don't think so, because he was a stand-up defensive end at Memphis. So he strictly rushed the passer. I mean, dropped into coverage, from time to time, but he's a going forward player. He's not a linebacker per se. He's more of a defensive lineman. So he was a stand-up defensive end. He's from Humble, Texas, and went to Memphis, and he's strong. This is a strong player, long arms, good motor. But he's also a small edge rusher in the Niners scheme. He's 245 pounds. He had been playing in the UFL for the Memphis Showboats, and high effort guy, great motor, super tough. He's got a strong initial punch. I think that's kind of what he's known for, and gives the Niners another guy to take a look at off the edge. So that edge situation is going to be interesting, because it's like you can never have enough good edge rushers. The 49ers have Sam O, they have Robert Beal, and Terron Jackson, gave them some depth. So without Terron Jackson, they add Jaylon Allen. And I don't expect Allen to make the team, but I am eager to see what he looks like and where exactly they place him. If they use him as a defensive end, it would be the first time in a while that I can remember them going with a 245 pound defensive end. Usually they're going for guys who are more like 260, 270, who are more stronger at setting the edge in the run game. So that would be interesting if they use Jaylon Allen as an edge rusher at 245. But he's a good athlete. He was a good athlete, and he didn't have a lot of moves at Memphis. He was really kind of a raw, high effort rusher that gets by on some decent traits and a tremendous motor. This guy plays hard. He's got as I said, he's got that strong initial punch. He will strike that offensive lineman. He's real physical, good motor, but undersized. And I think in this defense, he's going to struggle to set the edge in the run game. Interesting addition though, and the 49ers on the defensive line, really look. They're going to be very, very young, but they're also going to be really talented. C.J. West, Mikael Williams, Alfred Collins. There's a lot of talent there. And, we're talking about young players, but guys who are going to wind up playing a lot of snaps this year. Mikael Williams, with the addition, the guy to me who was just blew my mind watching him in practice yesterday was Bryce Huff, who just is so efficient out of his 4-point stance that Austin Pleasant's just whiffed. Just whiffed altogether on him. So that was interesting to watch. To see him, just totally, didn't get a finger. Austin Pleasant didn't get a finger on Bryce Huff. And that just tells you how efficient and how scary Huff is. He's so choreographed and so explosive coming out of his stance that he is really, really scary. So you got Bryce Huff, and now you got Mikael Williams, and you can play Williams inside. You also have Beal, you have Sam O, you have Yatir Gross-Matos. I was actually hoping for good things from Terron Jackson, but Jackson's injury creates the opening for Jaylon Allen, and the Niners. The news of the day is that the Niners have signed Jaylon Allen, and we'll see what he looks like. It'll be interesting to see if he's out there on the practice field today, or if this is a situation we don't see him for a couple days. So the news of the day so far: Jaylon Allen, the newest 49er. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. And that's a wrap from the parking structure.